I think Vegapunk is talking about harnessing the power from kinetic energy as well as maybe spiritual energy or both, because he seems to just be gathering energy all around.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking spiritual energy is all around, but kinetic energy kind of only happens when something's in motion, like a force or whatever that's happening.
OCDs are very similar to another invention on Skypea.
The dials, right?
Dials,
the
thank
same
you, my
thing.
boy. Yes. So dials were strange yet mysterious devices with the ability to store matter and energy. It makes me wonder if Vegapunk drew inspiration for the OCDs from dials.
Vegapunk talking about the energy reminded me of the conversation that they were having about harnessing energy on Egghead. And it got me really thinking about if they're going to be using this energy in a specific way. Overall, Vegapunk has bigger goals. Vegapunk's like trying to create mother flames. Vegapunk's trying to harness energy sources that have never been harnessed before. What does it mean for the future of the story as a whole, the future of the One Piece world as a whole, that Vegapunk is on Elbaf and having access to this other energy? I don't know what it means. Could we potentially be getting another mother flame in the short future? I don't know. The ODC's technology is kind of crazy in general. I started thinking about, like, we'll get more into that later, I guess, but like what could be done with that?
Yeah.
Not even just like for Vegapunk, but for even in this arc with other crewmates potentially. That's kind of it. A lot of my other stuff kind of goes with some of the later parts that's going to happen. So I'll pass to Lawrence.
Law?
I think that the energy that Vegapunk is talking about, I have two things. It could be both or whatever. One, I think it actually might be spiritual energy and or kinetic energy.
I didn't expect spiritual energy from you, but kinetic is
neither.
different.
Yeah. So the reason I say spiritual energy is because in reference to what Ray said in chapter 597.
That there's Haki and everything.
Yes. But he talks about like how everyone has Haki. How he's defining Haki, he says this. Haki is the ability to sense spiritual energy.
Okay.
So he said it's the ability to sense it. And he's saying it's all, and he kind of says it's everywhere, but more like everywhere in like, I guess, living things or in people, animals or whatever. But he says able to sense that in people and then also utilize it or whatever. Right, so that's why I say spiritual energy, because the same concept that's everywhere. And now I also mentioned kinetic energy because Vegapunk said he gathered it from this natural disaster. We see this fire that's raging, and he also grabbed it from lightning. It could be a combination of both or whatever, but I think kind of dope in that aspect. It could be, I don't know exactly what it is, because there's also Haki, but I think that's also maybe a little separate, unless Haki and spiritual energy are supposed to be the same thing. Could just be that. But I think Vegapunk is talking about harnessing the power from kinetic energy as well as maybe spiritual energy or both, because he seems to just be gathering energy all around.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking spiritual energy is all around, but kinetic energy kind of only happens when something's in motion, like a force or whatever that's happening.
I absolutely loved the beginning of the chapter. I've been waiting for what feels like forever to see what Lilith and Frankie and Bonnie have been doing. Ever since the mural was mentioned and we learned there was a first world and then discovered there was a structure that was 3,000 years old, I've been itching to find out what's really happening around that area. At first, I thought Lilith was about to like pull out a Stella Vegapunk. But instead, she revealed these Omni-Drain Converters. Initially, I didn't think much of it, but the moment Lilith asked Frankie and Bonnie if they could feel the energy around them, everything clicked for me. It was the same thing that Sebastian came up with, and here's why. When we first met Vegapunk, he explained to Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei that his dream was to build a world where energy is abundant, available, and free to access around the globe. Of course, Luffy didn't really get it, right? He was like, I don't care. Jinbei then explained to his captain that the world's energy resources are constantly fought over, and then it's used to fuel conflicts and wars between nations. So Vegapunk excitedly tells Jinbei, that's exactly right. And he like starts pointing. Mm-hmm. And that's why mankind is so foolish. And then Vegapunk goes, reach out and feel all around you. He's like, energy is here, there, anywhere, and everywhere. The world is absolutely brimming with it. If humanity could simply convert that energy into a usable power source, it would eliminate all of this fuel of war, because everybody now would have energy. There would be no reason to fight. Vegapunk says that one day science will reach that lofty realm. So he even tells Luffy that the harder he strives to find this energy, the closer he gets to the same power source that once powered Emmett, the ancient energy source. When Lilith says the exact same thing to Frankie and Bonnie, just feel it. It's everywhere around you. That's energy. I knew she was unveiling an invention that actually converts that surrounding energy. And that's exactly what the Omni-Drain Converters were designed to do. Even the name supports it, right? Like Omni means all things. Drain means to drain from or use up as a resource. And then Converter means to change something from one form into another. So Vegapunk created devices that can literally draw energy from everything or anything around them and convert it into usable power. That also connects back to something Vegapunk said earlier, that the closer he came to finding this power source, the closer he came to the ancient energy, which we now know is associated with like the mother flame. And it connects even further. When we first saw the mother flame and it was encased in that container, there were the lettering A and MU. It appeared, and then interestingly, that's a Japanese wordplay for atom from Atamu. Then later we saw Emu use the mother flame to destroy Lucia, a devastating weapon used in war. All of that made this moment incredibly hype for me. If the ODCs are truly tapping into that same concept of universal energy, we might be looking at a major breakthrough tied directly to Vegapunk's ultimate dream. I was seriously excited reading this part of the chapter, and honestly, I hope we spend more time with Lilith moving forward, because I can also add to this. OCDs are very similar to another invention on Skypiea.
The dials, right?
Dials, thank you, my boy. Yes. So dials were strange yet mysterious devices with the ability to store matter and energy. It makes me wonder if Vegapunk drew inspiration for the OCDs from dials. I also believe this might be a part of what makes Uranus, the ancient weapon, a weapon. I believe it might just be a very humongous OCD. I'm going to go more into something else later.
I have a question for you with what you're saying right now. A couple chapters ago, we saw Colin playing with a toy of Emmett. And like you said, this is the energy source that powered the ancient giant. Do you believe that the energy source is native specifically to Elbaf?
I don't know.
Okay. Because I was like,
I don't know.
Okay, does it need to be Elbaf?
I think the next part, I probably might have something, but I don't know. I think Emmett's energy source could be almost anything, if not the purest of energy, which is very close to the mother flame.
And Harmy, what you were saying before about the energy sources, about what's happening. So you think about it too, you have Haki or the spiritual energy, if they're two separate things, right? But in a way, if kinetic energy is a way that could be harnessed, you could keep having energy be used by the energy that it produces. Like, for example, you produce energy, you absorbed it and you're producing it. Now, like, for example, what the Mother Flame did through Lucia, all that attack, in a way, produces kinetic energy. So that attack you just produced is creating energy in itself. You absorb that energy from that attack, and then boom, you have more energy right then and there. So you can have a way where it just keeps recycling itself, fueling itself to keep on attacking. So I wonder if they'll ever go into that one, but this way of Frankie leveling up could be very interesting if he actually puts it into it, which will be dope for him. And he might share that with Usopp, with some of his abilities, with his, or even Nami. We all talked about the whole bubble shield, but with these aspects, they could really level up here if they put mind to it with Vegapunk's technology, Usopp, Nami. But
first off, I know I was praising these Omni-Drain Converters for what they're capable of, but I'm also going to give them some criticism because it's definitely warranted. It's completely fair to say that devices like this shouldn't exist without proper management. If someone got their hands on this kind of technology and used it the wrong way, entire countries could be devastated by the forceful effects of stripping away natural energy from their environment. It actually reminds me of the dance powder in Alabasta, how people manipulated the weather to create artificial rain, which in turn caused massive droughts elsewhere. Their environment was being altered for personal gain. Now that we know natural disasters can generate energy, it raises another question. If Blackbeard somehow managed to recruit York, and York had the ability to create or operate Omni-Drain Converters, could Blackbeard potentially use his Quake ability to generate massive energy sources? In other words, he could theoretically power weapons for his entire crew using the energy from his own earthquakes as a kind of failsafe weapon of mass destruction. That would be crazy. That comment about natural disasters producing energy also made me think about another ancient weapon, Pluton. For the longest time, I believed that the natural defenses surrounding Wano were actually caused by Pluton itself. We were told that once Pluton is released, Wano would lose its natural defenses if natural disasters generate energy. What if the true reason Pluton is considered an ancient weapon is because it can create natural disasters, essentially generating its own endless supply of energy?
I mean, a Vegapunk level mind should be trying to recycle the energy if you're going to create.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how I guess this is how you would do it.
Yes.
You just have to find a way to simultaneously create the damage, have the damage last long enough to then still be able to recycle it as you go on. That's why a ship would work, especially if you're hovering. Like I'm doing the damage and then it's just also sucking it up with like a vacuum. Hey man, like you said, without proper oversight, you I mean the world was flooded before, so I'm assuming somebody did something very similar without the proper oversight.
And it just connects to Frankie too, because Frankie is connected to learning about Pluton and the Pluton blueprints. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the Omni-Drain Converters are basically dance powder related as well. It just seems like the ancient weapons seem to be a little bit more clearer than I thought they were before, which is interesting to me.